Can I please get your take on the coalition split today?
This is a nuclear meltdown, and the coalition now is nothing more than a smoking ruin. They are hopelessly divided on personalities and on policy. It shows that the new leadership has failed its first test. It shows that they've learned absolutely nothing from the last few weeks or indeed the last few years. This is a nuclear meltdown in the coalition, and it's hard to see how Australians can take them seriously when they don't even take each other seriously. So the coalition is now little more than a smoking ruin. I think that is really clear. Also clear is the contrast between a government getting on with the job, managing the economy responsibly, here to talk with you today about the second interest rate cut in 3 months, and a coalition or a former coalition completely and entirely focused on themselves. They tried to divide the Australian community in the election campaign. They ended up dividing themselves. And the consequence of that is that the Liberal Party is now barely bigger than the crossbench in the parliament. We'll post the water, so we'll go you three and then back here and then we're done.
Treasurer, this is the first interest rate.
So we're chuckling because I meant behind you and then we'll come to you. But if Tom's all right, we'll start. No, please, mate. Please, mate. I wanted to explain why Tom and I were smiling. It's your turn. Yeah.
This is the first interest rate cut basically since Donald Trump imposed his tariffs, and the RBA in its decision was mentioning all the uncertainty internationally and how that affects on the domestic front, given that a lot of economists are saying that we're expecting 4, potentially 5 interest rate cuts this year. How do you see that those developments overseas will affect any possible cuts in the future? And also just on the Nationals issue as well, does that make governing even easier for you, given that the opposition is now effectively halved?
Oh, first of all, there's nothing easy about governing, and you know, we don't underestimate our political opponents even at their worst, and so I think it's self-evident today that they've torn themselves apart, but our focus is not on our opposition. Our focus is on our economy. It's on the challenges of the next 3 years and the decades beyond. And I think you can see that contrast laid out pretty clearly today. You know, our focus will continue to be on providing the responsible economic management, which has been a defining feature of this Albanese Labor government. It was the primary focus in our first term and during the campaign, and it will be a primary focus in our second term as well. And one of the reasons for that goes to the first part of your question. There is a lot of unpredictability and volatility and uncertainty in the global economy. We see that reflected in the Reserve Bank's statement. We see that reflected in the statement on monetary policy and in the way that they've changed the forecasts. Global economic uncertainty is casting a dark shadow over the whole global economy. And we are not immune from that. We're better placed, we're better prepared, but we're not immune from those developments. And you can see that in the way that the Reserve Bank has grappled with and explained this decision today. And no doubt, Governor Bullock will also be asked about that shortly.